Yeah! Welcome. Welcome
Every
back.
time.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to get on air with these guys again. Welcome back to Calling All Beings. I'm your host, DJ, along with my co-conspirator who's already starting up another joint with me. And I don't mean the kind you thinking of, Sam. Okay, Tupa? I'm talking about something else. Money Nathan, what's up?
Not much, man. Just having a good Friday. Beautiful day out there. Did some projects today. A few projects that you know about. You know, just what you talked about there. Excited to help out with that.
Very cool.
And just really excited to talk to Kevin.
NO Productions, baby. What's up? So Kevin may join us, Flarious Kevin, when he gets home from work. He's at work, mate. He's taking care of business.
Yes.
But until he gets here, holding it down is our research and homie who I done shared her UFO connector on Tupacabra Space. And I'm like, you want to learn about the phenomenon? Whoa, hold up, man. I got a place where there's one-stop shopping for everything. And that is study of UAPs. What's up, Debs?
Hi, everyone. I'm excited about today for sure. Glad to be here.
Deb, you look great today. Good to see you.
You do.
Thank you. It's always the makeup.
It's good to have you. And also my homegirl who I had a great conversation with last week. I can't wait till the next one. And she is at UAP Experiencers. Steph, what's up, homegirl?
I missed you guys so much. I was itching to get on camera with you guys like all day today. And not only that, but you know, it's Kevin's birthday today. So we're not only getting to interview Kevin Day, but we're able to celebrate him. So yeah, it's a great day. Great way to end the week.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. And speaking of the itching, if I can send you some DJ's Bespoke Skincare with Nathan on the cover.
It's true.
And I think that'll handle skin anomalies that you have, or even Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I just said it. I just said his name. Okay. All right, party people. Get ready to welcome this brother right here. He's United States Navy retired. This brother was on the USS Princeton, tracked a Tic Tac for several days before directing a successful and probably very frightening intercept on that with Dave Fravor, Alex Dietrich in their backseaters. Pardon me, because I don't know their last names. I might get in trouble. But we are super excited to have my Navy brother. So get that flour and Cheeto dust off your hands and put them together for my man, Kevin Day.
Aloha.
Yes.
Welcome.
What's up?
Hello there from beautiful Southern Oregon, Illinois Valley. Glad to be here today.
Great to see you.
Pardon the dogs.
Great to see you.
Your timing is perfect.
Yes.
We're a very dog-friendly show, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a dog-friendly show. We've done a couple of things for dog rescues on this show. Hey, there's my colleague right there, John Smith, chiming in. He's another simulator analyst and also a motorcycle YouTuber. Hey, John. Thank you, brother. So anyway, we're very happy to have you, Kevin. There's stuff that we've sort of wanted to dig into, but before we kind of do this, I was wondering, so everybody knows that you're a part of this. I mean, you're basically famous in the community because of the incident that basically happened because you decided to take action, probably against certain judgments that you might have thought would be held against you, to direct an intercept of this device that you saw over several days. And I was wondering if you could explain to people, just in general, that for the layperson, about the Spy 1 radar and what we're looking at. What is a phased array radar compared to what we would think of as like a targeting radar or ATC type radar?
Well, traditional radar will rotate, and then you'll see objects lit up as the beam passes them, and then it'll come back around, and you get a next update on the track, and you can track it that way. And they got faster and faster and faster. Now, the SPY is a phased array, three-dimensional radar. It looks in all directions all the time, unless you narrow it down, and you can subdirect it and sector it out and all that other kind of stuff, so you don't flood your own systems, so to speak. It's a beautiful system, and it's a system that we used to find those contacts off Catalina Island back in 2004. And what I honestly, in my heart of heart, and I don't know, it's always been a burning question for me, is like, I had spent literally years in those waters behind that radar. I was on the USS Vincennes. I was one of the very first spy operators, in the whole program. There was CG-48. I was on CG-49. I was on the Chosen out in Pearl Harbor, and then back in San Diego on the Princeton. Literally years in those waters. And this was my very last underway on a ship. And I was up on watch. I was a very senior trainer, of course. I was trying to get the combat team ready. They were going on deployment. And I was up on watch, and I noticed these strange contacts. And I'm kind of going off your initial question a little bit, but it kind of has to do with the qualities of the radar itself. If it's okay, I'd like to just kind of continue with this thought.
Please.
And I was up on watch, and I noticed these tracks off Catalina. I was like, that's really odd. And it wasn't my situational awareness at the moment, because my focus was down on the air defense sector part, which is way below outer space. Okay. But the ballistic missile defense team was actually tracking these objects coming down from lower Earth orbit. They would go to 80,000 feet and kind of stay. And then they would go down to 28,000 feet, where I became not really concerned about them, but I became aware of them. And the thing is, they were tracking from Catalina right through our operations area. And at the time, we didn't have any aircraft aboard Nimitz. They hadn't embarked on the ship yet. So, and I thought it was just something civilian related. They didn't even know we were out there, although there was nothing in the NOTAMs, notice to air mariners. Notified, I thought, hey, maybe they just forgot. But they were on our data links. We were reporting them back to the beach just in case. Until the day of November 14th rolled around, and I did have aircraft on the Nimitz, and then we were going to do a big, huge air defense exercise. That's when Kevin Day became concerned, because I was very concerned about safety of flight. And that is one of my primary concerns to this moment. And that's the reason why I chose to speak out of it originally. I was like, hey, guys. Anyway, I'm kind of jumping ahead. Let me go back. Captain Smith comes down to combat. I said, hey, sir, we've been tracking these things for days now. No idea what they are. I do not want to run into one of these, because someone's going to ask you and me why we were so damn curious about these objects. They're real. We've brought down our systems, ran all the diagnostics tests we had. I think we're seeing them because of our systems upgrade. It can let us see them now. I highly recommend, and I'm going to log this if you don't agree with me, just so you know, sir, that we intercept one of these things and see what they are. He said, you're right, Senior Chief, intercept and visual ID, VID it. And Commander Fravor on Fast Eagle just happened to be the first man or person airborne, not from his wing. He was that kind of guy, one of the greatest naval aviators the Navy's ever produced, by the way. And we took control of them, and the rest is history.
I'm going to ask one more geek question before I turn it over to Money Nathan, who probably has a banger of a question for you. But did you, when you went to Pencil, I'm assuming you went to Pencil Beam on it, and did it give you a different kind of a return, or a more interesting aspect to look at in a pencil mode or something?
There's no need to do that essentially on the spy radar. We had the highest quality spy track available the entire time we were tracking these things.
Got it.
And the thing that really got everyone's attention really quickly, of course, and everyone knows this story by now, is Commander Fravor got in the same piece of airspace, this thing right down to the surface of the water. And some people saying it went in the water. It wasn't my situational awareness at the time. Went chasing it down, and it right in front of him disappeared. Now, in carrier air defense, like if this is the aircraft carrier, we'll have points in space in the direction of the threat sector. Of course, my camera is reversed. I'm getting pointed the wrong way on you guys.
Okay.
But we put up a defensive shield between us and whatever threats out there. Combat Air Patrol Station. and Commander Fravor and Fast Eagle hadn't even gotten into a station yet. He had just launched, the very first guy to launch for the air defense exercise. This object, whatever it was, somehow, some way, went exactly to his cap station. His, not assigned to someone else, but his cap station, his air crew's cap station. And because they're specifically assigned to people, different elements of the flight that goes up. And oh my God, how do you explain that? What's your explanation? I'd love to hear it, because I don't have one. To this moment, I'm baffled. This thing knew, I think, and then when we recently went off SoCal, we're going to talk about this later with Caroline Corey's movie, A Terror in the Sky. One of the researchers, Matthew Zidalgas, came up to me and said, "Hey, Kevin, I got a question for you." I said, "What's that, sir?" He said, "Do you think intentions have something to do with this?" And I looked at him, and he was kind of emotional. I said, "Yes, sir. I think that lesson was pretty clear in 2004. I think that's why it went to our cap station. I think that was the message." I think they were telling me, maybe, God, I hate that. It's hard for me because I'm just a normal guy, man. I didn't ask for this shit, but somehow I'm caught up in it, and I've got to do this, and but some of the things I say, they sound so egotistical, but they're not meant to be. It's a reflection of what I'm going through and the reality of it. So it's hard, It's hard for me to come out like this, because I just want to be a normal person and have a normal life. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be rich. I just want to help people at this point. That's what I want. I know who I work for.
We are here with you, brother, and we're not here to judge. We're not here to extract. We're here to just kick around some ideas with someone who has more expertise than us, and we greatly appreciate and respect that you're willing to speak with us. And let me turn it over to my brother. Thank you.
Thank God for this journey. That's all I got to say. And it took me forever to figure this out, and when this first started happening, I was concerned about safety of flight, and I still am. It's one of my primary concerns. But the post Tic Tac thing, if I could just kind of keep going with the story here, because this is my message right here. I'm about to get to my Kevin Day's message. Excuse me. Post Tic Tac, I'll leave the defense contractor names out of it, because they were good people, and they were just like anyone else at the time. I would, in meetings, I say, "Hey guys guys and gals, we got a problem here off San Diego, a safety of flight issue." And they "What's up, Kevin? What's going on?" And I would try to describe what happened in 2004, and all they could hear was UFO. And I literally got laughed out of meetings. I can't even tell you how bad that hurt, man. At one point, I got so damn frustrated. I went home and I wrote a book I wrote a short story about the whole thing, changed all the names. It's called The Seer. I published it in the Library of Congress with some other short stories. It's called Sailor's Anthology. And the reason why I did that is twofold. One, to get it off my chest in a positive way. And two, I put it in the Library of Congress just in case the story ever did become public. My little book I published in February 2009 would become direct evidence that the event itself actually happened. And my book is now, a little bird told me it's one of the reasons why the government had to come out and say, yeah, UAP is real. I mean, how there's no way to explain my book otherwise, unless I have a time machine, which I don't.
I have no doubt. No doubt about it.
Yeah. So I know I kind of went off track with your spy question a little bit, but
no,
it's all related.
This is what we're here. This is what we're here for. I just don't want to hog up all the Kevin Day. I got to give it up to my brother Money Nathan.
Go for Kevin.
It. Go for it.
It's an honor to have you with us, and
maybe we need to do more than one show.
Yeah,
yes, we will.
You're welcome anytime.
Yep.
I was having lunch with my dad today, and we were talking about leadership, and I won't tell you in what context, but we landed on this notion that some of the greatest leaders don't really want to lead. They lead because they kind of have to. And I just want to thank you for what you have done and the courage it took. I hear what you're saying. It's not something you have sought. you just had to do this because you felt that it was the right thing. And along that same sort of line, I know that we've had some hearings recently. We've had some legislation that's been introduced that seems to really want to get at the heart of this. Congress seems to want to try to solve, as you said, the safety of flight issue, among many other issues related to this topic. What was it like for you, sort of seeing that progress take place in our Congress? Are you optimistic? And then the second
Hell
part of this
yeah.
question is, what do you think about those who are in the role that you had, who are out at sea right now? How do you think they're feeling about what they're seeing in this topic?
I think I'll take the second part of the question first. I think active duty military now is greatly relieved that if they see something on patrol, they can actually say something and not be looked at like they're crazy or immediately given a piss test to see if they've been smoking something, which one of my bosses literally asked me, Kevin, what the hell have you been smoking? When I showed him my book. God, that hurt. I can't even tell you how bad that hurt. I'd known that guy all my career. And I was like, what? What? But anyway, active duty military nowadays I think they're greatly relieved. I really do. And what was the first part of the question?
Well, with the legislative progress that we're
legislation.
seeing.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our attorney at UAPX has sent Congress a letters offering myself to testify, which that's my goal. I would very much like to get in front of Congress, because I can tell you right now, if they get me in front of that Congress, it's going to be C-SPAN history, because I'm going to turn some heads, believe me, because there's no way they're going to be able to look at me and say I'm lying. Nope.
It doesn't look like that's their aim. The way that they seem to be very generous with people that are. Yeah,
and I understand their positions. I mean, they're elected from the beautiful state of Pennsylvania or something, right? They're just a regular person. And you know what? They're trying to do the best they can. And this whole thing comes out of the blue at them, and they're trying to get funding to improve streets in their hometown. You know what I mean? It's like, something's got to wake them up, at least. And wake up's even the wrong term, because it makes them sound bad, which they're not. Most of them are probably really good people. Like most of the people on this planet. It's just a very few of us, I think, that I won't cuss, but messes it up for the rest of us. But most of us are good, including our Congress. And I think if someone like myself and some of the other witnesses that have military, that have had these experiences, gets up in front of that Congress, it'll make history. Yeah. Because something will happen out of it, trust me.
I want to just add, I'm sorry.
There's no way they'll be able to say no.
I want to add one thing. I mean, the fact that you have the most qualified person to interpret the Spy 1 radar on the ship is you. And so therefore, that kind of testimony for people to say, I want data. I need expert testimony and data. Okay, well, you're not going to actually see the raw data, but you're going to get the expert testimony. And that's why I think you're very important, is you didn't just see something with Mark I eyeballs that can be misinterpreted, but you actually saw and were able to collect data using the best radar available at the time on this object. And that is critical to those hearings, in my opinion.
Me too. And DJ, don't give up hope. I'm not unconvinced at this point that data might suddenly make an appearance during those hearings. Don't ask me how or why I feel that way, but there's this thing changes you. This experience, even astronauts are saying this now, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about before we run out of time. Is and it's the second. My first problem was safety of flight. Now today, looking back on this, and I didn't understand it. Damn, guys, I quit my job and I became obsessed with this idea that I could find the mother lode for a 100-year-old guiding mining claim out in the wilderness. I'm like, Kalamazoo wilderness here in Southern Oregon. So my entire family thought I had gone insane. I'm convinced of it. I was suddenly living out in the wilderness. My wife of 20 plus years had left me. I was pinned, but I was obsessed with this idea that I could find the mother lode. And you know what? I did find it. And in fact, there's a chance it could become one of the hugest finds ever found, because of the fact that the type of geology is it's called the Josephine ophiolite. And what it is, it starts at the mid-Pacific Ocean, and it's the spreading arcs, and they're loaded with hydrothermal vents, as you know. And these things lay down mineral deposits. Well, this whole piece of geology goes from Northern California to Southern Oregon. It came over to the West Coast of the United States, and instead of getting subducted because it's so heavy, like ground normally gets subducted under continental plates because they float, right? Mm-hmm. Well, an ophiolite gets stuck on dry land, and that's what we got here. And for decades now, I mean, they've known about it, but it was unminable because it's in the wilderness. And of course, and I agree, man, you ain't tearing up my wilderness. No freaking way. That place is primordial and is beautiful. I would defend it with my life. Mm-hmm. However, when the Dare Moon mission came up with Elon Musk, I said, why not? I'm going to go ahead and apply. So I applied, and I sent them all my research because they wanted to know, okay, how does going with us going to change what you're doing here on the planet? So I applied, and I sent them all my research. And about 4 days later, I was right outside the house, and I noticed this low-flying jet aircraft, pure white, flying north and south directly over the wilderness. And I thought, now that's really weird. I've been living here. I grew up here, and I've never seen any jet fly over that wilderness. I didn't even think it was legal. It turns out it was a NASA flight on a geodetic mission. And I can send you I got pictures of it. I don't know if I sent it to you guys or not, but I sure will. I'll send you all my mining research, and you do have it?
No, I don't.
Okay,
we would like to see it though.
Okay. I mean, the thing why Musk, right? Well, the thing is in part of my application, I included the suggestion, hey, sir, with your new boring technology he's putting in the tunnels between LA and Las Vegas, you might be able to repurpose that to mine something like an ophiolite from below the ground and never touch a blade of grass in the wilderness. Think about that.
And when he says boring, he doesn't mean boring. He means boring.
No, he means making tunnels.
Drilling.
Yeah, taking rocks out of the ground. Yeah.
Elon, you got boring technology, man.
This thing could be
that would be wonderful.
And you wonder how much are we talking about, Kevin? I think it's trillions with a capital T, man.
Wow.
And there's metals, there are minerals down there's gold. I mean, we had gold, right? But there's more than gold down there. There's every rare element on the planet. My grandpa was telling me stories about it. And the whole reason why I even figured it out is because when I first became aware of it, I was thinking gold nuggets, like all the gold mining here, right? He said, no, Kevin, you got it wrong. I said, what do you mean, sir? He said, the stuff we were getting, and we probably lost more than we ever found. When you looked at it through a microscope, magnifying glass, it looked like snowflakes. I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking in my mind, okay, if it traveled at all, it's going to look like little tiny ball bearings, and it's going to get, it's soft, it's going to get beat up. It can't be coming from very far away from where they're getting it. And that kind of one thing led to another, and I was able to figure out the whole ophiolite thing, and bam, there you go. I in my heart of hearts, and I know this sounds fill in the bank with the cuss word. In my heart of hearts, I think I was led there. I really do. How do you explain me suddenly becoming obsessed with this idea and then turning it into something that could quite literally take us to space exploration? Because we need those. There's minerals down there that we need for space exploration, believe it or not. And what about our national debt? I believe there's enough wealth down in this ground right below my feet right here to maybe even pay it off. I mean, because I know it sounds crazy, but it's because of the type and the size of the geology that I'm talking about. That's the reason right there.
Well, I mean, we don't know.
Well, DJ, here's my problem. Yeah. So the issue that I have today is when I was going through all these changes, my family had thought I had gone insane, and that was just me. And other people have kind of had similar experiences that I've talked to since then. But here's my question. What if there was a worldwide mass contact event and every single person on this planet started to change like I did and nobody knew why or how? I'm telling you, brother, that might not end well for us.
Mass hysteria.
And I think that I think that is the reason why whatever this is has avoided us, because they know that a mass contact event might not end well for this planet. And I think they learned that lesson maybe centuries ago when they did try to contact us and it didn't end well.
Yeah, I think I've been working on that hypothesis for a couple of weeks now. Talked to Nathan about it. Haven't talked with Deb about it yet, but I will. And it's not one of the things that I'm happy about is certain people's reactions to things like Tic Tac that attempts to say this didn't happen. It's human technology. It's not real. And even some even more ridiculous things that I wouldn't even repeat on air that I read this week. But you are not among those people right now. And Kev, I'm going to turn you over to our researcher, the host of Deb's Data Dojo. What's up, Deb?
Hello.
Talk to my man.
Hi, Deb.
Hi. So I wanted to, instead of just doing a question, I wanted to give you a chance to make a statement if you want to other experiencers or the public in general, kind of about what you've been through. And I just wanted to give you room to do that. So I guess if you needed a question, it's what would you say to the public about what happened for those who may not know the story in general?
Don't be afraid. Yeah, do not be afraid. Just like the ancient words said. If you encounter these things, there is a very good chance it's going to change you, and if you let it, you don't freak out, and you don't become unglued. It's going to make you a better person somehow, in some way. It can give you new ability. Believe it or not, it can give you new abilities, new talents out of the blue. New talents. You can suddenly become more compassionate, care about people. And maybe it changes all in slightly different ways. And for me, it turned off any. And I've never been a hungry for money type of guy anyway. But I don't have any interest in that. You know what? I'm comfortable and I'm happy and I love my family and people around me and my community and my 9 dogs and
Yeah.
I don't want to go out. I like all of you. I watch movies and listen to modern rock and all that stuff, and I look at these people doing those performances, and God bless them. You know what? It seems so glamorous, but you know what? The ugly side of it is those people bust their butts, man. That's hard work.
They're very
And
necessary.
they don't have the life I have. And I don't want to lose this by doing something like that myself. No way. No way. That's why I'm kind of hard. That's why I'm very choosy, picky about who I talk to about this and stuff. I'm not looking to make a fortune out of this. It's hard to explain, but that's how I feel.
We're very grateful that we're among the people that you talk to, especially today on your birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Kevin. You guys missed it. We did sing him happy birthday backstage. Tupacabra, you could have been there because you could have offered that baritone that we needed. We didn't have a baritone. So, but you know what? I'm going to forgive you. You can do it when you come on air with us. Deb, did you have a follow-up or are we going to Steph now?
I think we're ready to hear what Steph has to say.
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Hey, hello. And yes, thank you for your service. It's an honor to have you here. And, behind the scenes, I was saying, well, we need to roll out the red carpet for you because truly, your vulnerability and the place that you were put into, to the way that you were made to feel, really does speak volumes as to, where your mind was in this. You were ready to say, hey, look, I don't care what anybody above me says. This is my moment now to tell you what I witnessed. And I'm tired of people being made to feel that way. So I just appreciate your vulnerability and coming forth and speaking about it. And hopefully we'll see you, in front of Congress and, showing the data that you guys had that on radar that you collected. And, just thank you. I just can't say that enough, because I do speak with experiencers on a pretty regular basis, but they're civilians. So we, the civilians, we're very excited to have you here speaking for us, because really you're the one that's serving as that platform to for experiencers. So here you are, and here we are.
DJ can relate to the DJ can relate to this. Being military is leadership in place. That's what it is. Yep, leadership in place. Yep.
Yes.
You lead from the place and moment where you're at. That's it.
Right.
That's simple. Yep.
Yeah, and well, that's what we need, and that's what you're serving as. So, I did want to mention, and we had it kind of Nathan kind of mentioned it already, about ex-service members and veterans that had experiences. Well, I did have a veteran come forth that wanted to speak about something that had happened at Vandenberg, and Vandenberg is Southern California for some of you who don't know. And, you know, as he was talking about it, you could tell that he had this kind of anxious kind of thing about everything that he was kind of like unveiling, we'll just say. And so he actually kind of stepped back a little bit because he wasn't ready to actually speak about it. But he is a military member that, you know, they're wanting to kind of dust off the cobwebs, and they're coming out of the woodwork because of these types of events. So is there anything else that you would say to speak directly to those individuals?
Hang in there, and you're not crazy.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is people don't want to think that there's something that wrong with them. You know, they need to know, hey, I'm okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I find people that do come out and talk about this, like Stephanie, like yourself, to be very brave. And I come at that from the perspective that when I was 14, or 15, I think it actually might have been 15. I had a sighting in the Hudson Valley, and I didn't tell my mother or my father or my brother because I had the fear of being made fun of. But folks like yourself, like Stephanie, were able to overcome that and talk about it and say, damn it, I'm going to talk about it. So very courageous.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is that we thought that one Kevin wasn't quite enough. So we wanted to bring in another one, and that is our very own Flarius Kevin Baker.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Kevin. Welcome.
Nice to meet you. Nice name, Kevin.
You got in the traffic jam, huh?
Oh yeah, that California traffic. No
fun.
Did you want to jump in with your question right now, Kev?
Let me see where you guys are at first.
I
just got off work. Yeah, I even got my work shirt on still.
Okay. I've got. You better not say Chico bail bonds, or it's going to remind Kevin and I of Bad News Bears. Anyway, no. Actually, we have two mental health professionals that work with kids. In the case of Deb, kids and adults, and kids in the case of Kevin, and we're extremely proud of the mentorship and the what would you call it? The therapy that they provide people who need it. So thank you. So here's the question that I have, Kev. So why, if you were to take a guess, why, and so we're just speculating here because we don't know, but why do you suppose that particular phenomenon decided to jam Underwood's targeting radar, but not your Spy One radar? Do you believe that it's because it could sense that your Spy One radar was not a threat and that his targeting radar was a threat? Or what's your hypothesis on that?
That's as good as theory as I've ever heard, actually. Yeah. I would, if there was a reason, that might be it. Yeah.
Wow, Nathan, I had a good theory. Did you hear? Oh my God. Hit the timestamp.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, just like us, right? Whatever these objects are, they're gonna sort threats in the order of highest to lowest. So maybe that's what it was doing. It interpreted that plane's radar as a highest threat, so it decided to jam it just in case. Great question. And if there is an answer, that's likely it.
It's a high RF energy. You know, it's a different energy than the
Yep.
Spy one. You know, so
Yep.
I've
Yeah,
felt
it's
those.
like a pencil beam. Yeah.
Yes. So,
It's like a laser compared to a
Yeah.
full spectrum. Yeah.
wait, when anybody says laser, we have to do the Dr. Evil quotation
true.
marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't, thank you,
Laser.
Lee. All right, and let me
I do
pass
that
it
a
over to
lot.
Money Nathan.
Not my term. Yeah.
There you go. So Kevin, we all I think saw A Tear in the Sky. Really enjoyed the film. Really exciting to see like the science happening and what you
Yeah,
guys were
me
able
too.
to capture.
Me
You know,
too.
did you come away with the feeling that really this kind of activity is happening pretty much everywhere all the time? What's your feeling there? What's your intuition on it?
Oh my God. I hesitate all the time to ask why me, because it sounds so damn egotistical, and I don't mean it to be that way, but I can't. And other people have asked me too, is like, how come you were the one that found them on radar, Kevin, and intercepted them, and then years go by, and all of a sudden you form this nonprofit organization. You guys will go off the coast, and there they are again. How are you, and why are you connected to these things somehow? And I don't know that I am.
Right.
It's just a coincidence, and call it luck or unluck. I don't even know how to put my arms around it. But it's a legitimate question. And I guess we'll see when we go out on the third one if we find them again. Because I think these things are real, and I have for many, 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 many years, and the government now says that. I think B, or they're findable, and we just proven that off the coast of California. We deliberately went and we did find them. We got data. I mean, the data's there. It's getting crunched in academic papers right now from University of Albany, New York. And C, I believe these things are knowable. If we can at least begin to understand what this is. Those three things I believe. And in my lifetime, I hope to prove it. And if that's my contribution to this planet before I pass too, then I'm happy.
And can I say something, Kevin? This is for you in the community. We don't have to know why that you were there and why you observed it and why, the fact that you were there. Why should we worry about things that we can't control? There are people in the community who are very, very caught up in worrying about, oh my God, if we don't know what this phenomenon is and we can't control it, then exactly, we can't control it and we don't know. So I'm not going to lie.
And that's my concern. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to get concerned about it. We can observe it. We can get together like we are now and have discussions about it. We can throw some theories around it. We're thankful that someone who was on the most advanced radar in the world at the time got to see one and collect data. We don't have to why as far as why you or why not you, or are you special? Or are you not special? Let's just think about what we're seeing and analyze it. We just looked at a couple of things about the radar. Why did it jam this radar and not that? That's interesting point of conversation. There are hundreds and thousands of interesting points to talk about without getting into it's real, it's not real. Obviously, it's real. And let's just see if we can kick it around and use our brain power instead of worrying about what we can't control.
Amen, DJ. And you just paraphrased my response to people when they ask me that question. We don't need to worry about why. It's just worry about how do we figure this out at this point?
Yeah.
Let's work on the how part. Yeah.
Why was it Kevin? Why was it Gary? What? It doesn't matter why. They were there.
It doesn't matter.
Why was it Stephanie? Who cares? She was there.
Who
she
cares?
saw it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what she saw. Or you saw. So.
Amen. And I think money needs to be put in place to do exactly that. And that's going to happen at Congress. And also private industry as well. And that's happening too, by the way. Yep.
Is that right? Are you getting some good feelers?
There's new technologies that are going to come out of this and stuff like that. I mean, there's space travel and all the whole 9 yards. Yep.
Would you like to talk about 1.6 gigahertz? Because the guys from Skinwalker said that you guys were seeing, you were getting spikes and hits that you would basically it would be at the same time parallel. You were getting a 1.6 gigahertz spike, and then something would happen, or you would see something. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Whatever these things are, off SoCal, I mean, I was more involved with the operational aspects of all this stuff because we had scientists there with all the tech gear and stuff. So they are the true experts on that part of it, if you will. I was more of the organizer, the manager kind of guy, and made it all happen. But whatever this hole in the sky was, there was solid objects that came through them, and when that happened, we got gamma ray. We detected gamma rays, and Dr. Knuth comes up to me and says, "Hey, Kevin, I know you don't know what you're really looking at here, but that's a gamma ray spike." And I said, "Sir, what's the significance of that?" He said, "What you've seen there, because we just got one just a short time ago, or about 1,000,000 to 1 to get them that close together, or more than that." And it stunned me. I didn't even know how to reply. I knew in that moment we had stumbled upon something truly phenomenal again, and it showed up for us. It showed up for us for some reason. I mean, how do you explain it? Unless it's there all the time, and if you go back tomorrow and set up your gear, you're going to find them again, like some other team off the East Coast does it. And anyone that does it can go find them at any time. But sure, I'm open to that. If that's the case, my mind's open. But all I know at this moment is we went there, and our intention was to find them, and we did. And this time, the data isn't locked up in the military vault this time, or government vault. This time, it's in the academic community, the actual data. And my hat's off to the entire team. David Mason, he's out of Florida. He's invented a lot of this gear. The guy's a genius. We used a lot of his gear. We used a lot of the quantum physicist stuff out of their laboratory in New York. We got data that's probably never been collected before, most certainly at least by a civilian team, a nonprofit at that. None of us are in this to make money. Far from it. I've spent more than I care to say about,
He was awesome.
I'd do it all again. I'd do it all again.
Yeah, Dave Mason blew our mind up with some of the things that he was bringing up on here, like the sound waves and stuff. And I was like, but Steph wanted to chime in with something, and then we have Debs. Debs will have a chance with.
Yeah, well, on the next experiment that you guys do, I think as a suggestion, it would be really cool to have the triangle broaden to Vandenberg, 29 Palms, and Catalina. So almost just kind of expanding that out a little bit wider, because when I think that would be a perfect triangle. When I did witness it, it was over the mountain from 29 Palms. So there is definitely a lot of activity near Joshua Tree. I know you're aware. So, maybe it's their Air Force Base, and then Vandenberg, of course, would be a perfect spot. So just a suggestion. I don't know if you guys are there yet, or if Carolyn's open to suggestions, but
yeah, can we call it the Bermuda Triangle? I'm sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, 3 teams with similar gear at 3 locations.
Yeah.
And triangulate these things. Yep.
Exactly.
I'm volunteering Deb for the part that's out near Joshua Tree. She'll be there with her gear.
Same.
That sounds cool to me.
Or Catalina. Vandenberg would be cool too.
You guys can help us organize the whole thing, because that's where a lot of the work goes. Most of the work happens before you even step foot on ground, of course, as you know.
So true.
Yeah, for sure. All the logistics.
These people can organize, let me tell you now. So, all right, Debs, what you got, buddy?
I just wanted to know if you've had any other experiences since that initial one.
Since the initial one? No, I haven't. And in fact, before the show went on air, we were talking about Bigfoot. Now, Southern Oregon, I'm Illinois Valley, and of course, this is Bigfoot country. In fact, I lived in a little town called Cave Junction. The Oregon Caves are right up the road from me. Beautiful, if you've never been, or Marble Caves. And I grew up here, and I spent more time in that wilderness than probably 99.9% of the people living here. I have never seen a Bigfoot. It doesn't mean anything, because other people certainly have, and I believe them. Why would they freaking lie about that? I mean, I'm talking about firemen and police, people with credibility, you know, like they don't have no reason to lie about that. It's just me. I've never seen one out. Is it related to whatever's out there in the sky? Possibly. The same question goes for whales. I personally, going back to 2004, I was an avid whale watcher during my Navy days, right? This happened in November. The whales they migrate from Catalina down to Guadalupe Island off the coast of Mexico. And we tracked about 100 of these objects in groups of 5 to 10 at a time between, I don't know, over the course of maybe 7 days. Add them all up, about 100 contacts. Every single one of them disappeared off my radar. Remember, we're moving all over the ocean, so my radar envelope's moving with us, right? But every one of these objects disappeared off radar, not matter where we were, directly over Guadalupe Island. I think they are related to the whales, and because of that, it's not impossible they could be related to the Bigfoot phenomenon. Could be related as well. My mind is open on that question. I've never seen one. It doesn't mean it's not real. I wasn't a UFO guy either until 2004. It didn't mean they weren't real just because I wasn't aware of it. Right? I'm just some dumb guy.
Deb, do you have anything else, or are we going to Kevin? Kevin is got
I want to hear Kevin. We haven't heard, other Kevin. We haven't heard Flair in a long time. So I'm
what's
excited.
up, baby?
What's up? So, Kevin, hi. I wanted to thank you, first of all, for coming forward, for your bravery. I really respect that. I had an experience too, not quite like yours. I just had a time loss experience. But so one of the things that irks me about the UFO community is it seems to be the need to translate all these experiences through a cultural lens, you know? And it's like, oh, it's Bigfoot, or it's Grays, or oh, it's Jesus. You know, I don't think that the cultural lens will aid in our understanding. I think that unless it's us, it's going to be outside of our culture, you know? So I think, you know, whatever it is, it defies rational thought. You know, that being said, do you think that our current culture of reductionism may be too shallow to fully comprehend the phenomenon?
Ooh. Man, that is a great question. I wish I could say yes, but just the fact that these objects, whatever they are, have avoided us for millennia, screams no at me, because I think these objects, whatever this thing is, they know that if they announce themselves on a worldwide scale, it might not end well for this planet, because it's going to suddenly change everyone on the planet. Yeah. And no one's going to know what the hell is happening. Mm-mm. And if everyone on the planet suddenly went through what I went through, and man, think about it. I was very successful. You know, I was at the top of my game. Mm-hmm. And I ended up in the freaking wilderness. What about anyone? What's going to happen to them?
I know.
They have a family.
It's a scary thing.
They're doing what? You know, and the same with the rest of the family. You know, everyone's going crazy. It seems like they're going, and actually they're not. They're just changing, and they don't understand it. And I think your question is good, and I think I wish I could say yes, but I have to say no. And I just think history itself defends me on that answer, because I think that's the reason why, whatever this phenomenon is, I think that's the reason why they avoid us. And why now? Why? Maybe they think it's starting to change. I'm hoping maybe the time is beginning to be right. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I wish I could say otherwise, but I just have to go where the facts are right now.
Kevin, we've spoken at length about what, you know, and when I don't mean on this broadcast, but in the community, about what we think the phenomenon is. But by its actions, what do you think the phenomenon thought of your presence there, you and your shipmates, or do you think there was an indifference there?
That is a great question. I think, well, assuming first of all that they knew we were there and they were there because of us, assuming that's true. I mean, because that could also not be true. It's just a coincidence, it's a luck thing, and they didn't even care about us. They were doing something else. But if it is true, I think they were there to send a message. A, they're real, and B, they can ascertain our intentions. And that, to me, that was a very clear message, and I think is that message is very useful going forward. I really do, because if they know what I'm about to do, I can use that. Like was suggested earlier, a triangulation team, 29 Palms, Vandenberg, down in SoCal, maybe off even Hawaii or off a ship off the coast, and if we do that, they will show up, because that's what they've told us, and they've said it twice now. At least that's what I hear.
Who said it twice?
These objects. I mean, they.
Okay.
Well, Kevin, we talked about this earlier. Right after Commander Fravors intercept, that object, whatever he intercepted, ended up on his combat air patrol station, and he hadn't even gone there yet. It was a secret location. There are assigned stations we put air crews on to put the ships between the suspected threat and us, to protect us. And that object that he had intercepted went to his assigned, not someone else's assigned cap station, but his. And to me, that was a message. It was telling us very clearly it knows our intentions. And I think that can be useful in research.
Kevin, so the behaviors that have been characterized for us at length regarding the day of the intercept, is there something in those 7 days leading up, in those tracks that you had, is there a different behavior that you observed during those 7 days that you were getting those tracks and those contacts than the day of?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay. All right. So for 7 days, you're watching, you're seeing him come from 80,000 feet. You clocked it at the one point when it went from 28,000 to 50 feet, but you had seen them up as high as 80,000 feet. And so there's several nights that you're watching their behaviors and you're tracking before you direct an intercept. I'm curious if there is a different behavior that they observed that struck you than their behavior on the day of the intercept itself.
Yeah, there was. Up until the day of the intercept, they were just boring lights in the sky. They were going from Catalina Island, and they disappeared off radar off Guadalupe. There was a couple times I got them on radar, and I hurried up and got the relative position from the ship, approximate range. Ran up and looked at them through the big eye binoculars on the bridge, and all I got to see was a boring white light. But other bridge watch centers said they were doing erratic movements and stuff. But I didn't get the opportunity to see that. But once the intercept occurred, man, those things behaved with intent and with abilities that were unbelievable. And to this day, you tell me what it was. I don't know. Was it? And if it turns out that it was our stuff, then fine. I'm cool with that. My mind is truly open on this.
It certainly
and
would
what
make
I mean by our stuff from this planet, not
right.
U.S. Yeah.
It would make people a lot more comfortable if that were the case, because then they have a box to put it in. They have a context to put it in. There's a control measure there. But if it's not something from that an intelligence we're not aware of, that scares them, because now it's like, I don't know what the hell, I can't control this thing, and I have no idea what it's going to do. But I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it over to Money Nathan.
So there's a show my kids like to watch called Domino Masters. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I did not know, and I don't know if you know this either, but there are folks in the world who spend a lot of time playing with dominoes, and they line them up and they knock them down, and they make all these amazingly beautiful creations. At the end of this, what they call the topple, which is when the last domino falls, you can kind of see this entire field of things that are laid before your eyes, and it's often very beautiful. That they've kind of made the dominoes fall in such a way to create these beautiful patterns. If you didn't know it, how dominoes work, you might be mystified as to kind of like how that came about. I get the sense from listening to you that there's kind of a design, there's almost like a purpose behind the way in which this phenomena seems to be engaging with humanity. Do you think that is the case? Do you think that it's kind of reaching out and sort of activating or sparking the minds or imaginations of specific people so that they can be like those dominoes? They can fall in certain ways to create something that we wouldn't be able to create otherwise.
My short answer is yes. I believe there is, assuming again that it's not us, meaning humans from this planet. I believe they must have some sort of agenda, or why the hell would they show themselves? Not only in 2000 before, but other times too.
Do you think that it's?
Go ahead.
Well, do you think that it's? What role do you think time plays in this? We talked about the cat point and how odd that was. Is our notion of time just sort of broken? Do we need to revise our understanding of how time flows?
Well, yeah, likely. I mean, our lifespan, if we're lucky, is about 80 years or so. I mean, let's just take the Great Pyramids, for example. I think we would be challenged at this moment to build those. How in the hell did they build them centuries ago? With no caterpillars, no cranes, no forklifts, no helicopters, no hammer. I mean, no technology to speak of that we know about. How in the hell did they make the Great Pyramids?
And there's not a helicopter on this planet today that could lift one of those blocks, by the way.
Right.
So it's incredible. It really is incredible.
Yeah. I think to answer your question, I think time, we don't have a very good notion of it. And I don't believe this is the first time whatever this thing is has visited this planet. And I personally think the reason why they've been hesitant to visit us in mass again is because whatever happened centuries ago did not end well, and it scared them from. They probably love us. Whatever these phenomena is, for whatever reason, they probably love mankind. Otherwise, they'd have been here by now. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Everything's on the table as far as that goes.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yep.
Debs.
But then again, I just have opinions. I'm just a regular guy like you. Your guess is as good as mine.
It's a puzzle we're all just trying to put together, right? And I think we've got different pieces, and that's why we got to talk to each other.
Yep, that's why we're here. Debs.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, we talked a little bit about how this impacted your life. And I wanted to just kind of gauge if you feel like things have started to slowly improve with everything being public at this point, with other people coming forward with their stories, including people from other government agencies like the CIA. Do you feel like things are starting to go in the right direction, that the stigma is starting to diminish?
Oh, hell yeah. And especially for me personally, I mean, it almost didn't end well for me back in that wilderness. I mean, it was dangerous back there. There's people living back there that aren't friendly. There's snake, there's bear, there's cliffs to fall off of. And I was back there with my cousin. I mean, just the two of us. I was homeless, but now I got through all that, and once I understood, and again, I'm guessing, once I understood why I had changed because of this encounter, that knowledge alone helped me to come to terms with it, and I embraced it instead. And once I did that, my life turned around. I'm doing much better now, much better. In fact, yesterday was my 8th month sober. I've stopped drinking.
Nice, congrats.
I have no craving for it whatsoever. Thank God for near beer, because I still love beer, always have.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but I don't drink. Yeah,
Awesome.
And I have Kimberly Beresford. Thanks for that, my girl. And,
yeah, she's in the chat.
She's in the chat.
My mom,
What's up,
Kennedy, and my sister Debbie Day. All the women in my family slapped me across the face and said, "Wake the hell up, Kev! What are you doing?" and I finally listened. Thank God. Thank you,
Very
God.
cool.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
That's awesome.
We are also thankful. I have a question from one of our friends of the show. He goes by at Benji Might Be. He's been a friend of Cab. He's been a guest of Deb. And this question it probably a little bit emotional, and you've answered part of it, but I'm going to ask you because he's Benji, and he
Who,
says,
me, get emotional?
yeah. You know what? Emotion is
Perish the thought.
beautiful. It's the most human
Yeah.
thing there is.
Well, it's true.
What has
it's true. I'm
yeah,
speaking
that's
truth.
I mean,
Go ahead with your question.
what
Yep.
has this experience overall taught you about yourself? Not as a sailor or as an NCO, he put officer, but as a human being, what has this experience taught you about Kevin Day? See, now I'm speaking in third person.
Never say never. You, and I'm speaking of everyone. You, within inside of you, if you grab it, there is great things inside of you that you have no idea that you can accomplish that right now. And it might even shock you when you're done looking back at it. So you'd be like, how in the hell did I do that? I'm just some kid from Iowa. How in the hell did I do fill in the blank? And that's my answer. Every one of us has greatness inside of us if we embrace it, or just commonness, maybe that's a better way to say it. We have commonness in us, common greatness.
It's funny you say that, Kevin.
We're all imperfectly perfect. Yeah, we're all imperfectly perfect. Put it that way.
The people on this show have been looking for greatness inside of me for a year now, and they still haven't found it. So, if there's a way that you could help me realize that would be great.
I can try, I guess. Yeah.
I'm going to send you something Bigfoot wise to watch that's on Amazon Prime that I really like called, and John's going to laugh in the chat because we were speaking about it today over at the base, but it's called Missing 411. And the fourth chapter inside that documentary it's called Missing 411, The Hunted. And there is a Bigfoot aspect that a group of Northern California hunters and their hunting camp back in 1971 recorded some sounds and also had visual contact with the phenomenon. But I'll text that to you. But we'll keep going around. If anybody has last questions they want to get to Kevin, who is it? You're next. Are you next? No, Steph is. Kevin's next, right? Kevin. All right, or we'll go to Steph.
Okay.
Or do you have something?
I got
All
nothing.
All right, go ahead,
cool.
Steph.
Cool. Well, I would love to. I do often wonder if UAP have emotional intelligence. So you did somewhat answer that question for me by the fact that they revisited you. So that leads me to believe that they came back to your group on purpose. So that displays some form of emotional intelligence to me. Whether they were trying to display a message to you, I don't know. But my concern is, that they are disabling the nuclear reactors and or potentially turning these things on. So is there emotional intelligence involved in them trying to stop us from potentially, hurting ourselves here? That's what my question would be, is do you think that there's an emotional intelligence involved in them doing that?
And I think your question is sort of the same question that Matthew Zydogas asked me about intention. And my answer is yes. They are highly emotionally intelligent. And they can ascertain our intent as well. I think they're watching out for our best interests. I do. They love this blue planet like probably more than we do.
Yeah, I would like to believe that myself. So, you hope that the intent is not bad, but, I do think that we do need to be prepared for the opposite also. You hear about the radiation and the lasers being utilized, and I'm concerned as to how our military will react in that regard.
Well, to kind of put it in a box, and I don't want to sound like a butthole or nothing, but a taxi cab is dangerous too if you stand in front of it when it's going 80.
100% agreed.
I
Very
mean,
true.
you know what I mean? So there's parts of this phenomenon that maybe aren't healthy, but that's true with any technology, isn't it? Even a pencil or a pen can do damage to you in the proper, the right hands, right? I mean,
right.
If it goes up your nose too far, then it's probably bad news. Just a simple pen.
I think, yeah.
So I think I don't think the radiation is on purpose to harm anyone. It's just we didn't understand what the person that was getting too close didn't understand the danger of that particular object. I think that's the answer.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate your insight onto that as to, what you think that our reaction would be if the case were adverse, if it were something that wasn't a good intent. I'm concerned for our servicemen and women. So something to think about and wonder about.
They sure are slow at serving up bad intent if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been fired upon, but we fired upon them.
They've had centuries now to do bad things to us. So, if that's their intent, they're a little lame, aren't they?
I mean, even since Graham Rendell wrote his book with the Foo Fighters, so
right,
long time. I'm just kidding. Graham wasn't there in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, there's potential for it. There's always the what if. So I do. Yeah. I think about those things, and you hope that those things don't happen, but there's the potential. So, yeah.
It is the very definition of a potential threat. Anything can be threatened. It hasn't been kinetic or dynamic at this point. It doesn't mean that they won't be, but it goes back to what we spoke about earlier. Why am I going to lie asleep at night worrying about things I can't control? What I can do is come and talk about how we live together on the planet, which we do on this show, and how we might interact with the phenomenon and how we treat one another. And that's the only thing I can do. And we can sit there and theorize about the phenomenon, which is fun. That's why we're doing the show. But I can't worry about what it might do because I can't control that any more than I can control what the weather's going to be tomorrow. Am I going to worry if it's going to rain? I mean, maybe if I'm having like a picnic outside. Anyway, Money Nathan.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, and again, speculating here, anyone who's been through an event that really impacts their life thinks back to that event and kind of runs it through their minds over and over again. Is there anything that's occurred to you in thinking back through it that something that you or others that involved in the event would have wanted to do differently if you could run through it again? Anything that you would try to advise, or anything you would try to capture, or what's something that comes to mind there?
I would have kept a private logbook with my private recordings and some of the fellow watchstanders' private recordings. Everyone signed and dated it because the actual logbook got confiscated. But I have my air intercept control logbook. I mean, I still have that, and I have hundreds of air intercepts in that logbook from both peacetime and wartime operations. By the way, because I was in everything from Desert Shield all the way to Operation Iraqi Freedom, all of them. Every single one of them, and I had hundreds of intercepts in that logbook, and the Tic Tac was my very last intercept. Now, I wish I would have kept the same type of logbook during this. If I could go back in time and doing one thing different, that would be it.
Thank you.
The lesson for that is always take your cell phone with you, and if you see something, pull it out and use it.
Right.
That's our today's logbook right there. Take your cell phone and start recording it. That's our logbook. So that's another lesson learned. So I can turn your question into a lesson learned for right now, this moment.
Absolutely.
Take your recording devices with you, because I believe these things are going to become more and more common, the sightings, and now we have the technology to see and record them easier than we ever have before. And why does it happen? And like was said, I don't know. I don't care, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like has already been pointed out a couple of times, we do not have control of this, which is part of my personal fear. I know these things right now in this moment could do a sudden mass contact worldwide, and there's not a damn thing we could do about it to stop it. Evil intent or not, there's nothing we can do to stop it. And because I know it changes you, to me, that's my fear right there. Bam. I mean, but I personally believe the reason why that isn't or hasn't happened is because whatever this thing is, they don't want us dead.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'd be dead many centuries ago.
Yeah, who's going to do the podcast? I mean, they're not doing it.
That's true.
So I mean, they need they need us.
Absolutely.
The one
They
thing
do.
I was going to ask about, this is a community pointed question because I think you can provide a little bit of service to the community now. Without getting into specifics that would speak about specific capabilities, a lot of people are asserting, for example, that which I don't agree with, that what Jeremy Corbell's reporting isn't true, and that you have all these sort of quadcopter drones that are buzzing around Navy ships. And what I've told them that, and I don't remember the name of the system, but the ships have a system that creates sort of a net around these ships, and they can shoot down, protect the ship without getting into the ranges and distances and anything that would be considered sensitive. Can you confirm that there are systems aboard these modern ships that can take out these prosaic drones that people fly around without much trouble?
Absolutely. Of course there is. Yeah. Even today's tanks can probably do that. I mean, it's the weapon systems are definitely out there. And I think some of these more recent sightings probably are drones. Now it's a combination of stuff where before it wasn't, because drones just weren't prevalent like they are now. But most definitely some of the sightings now are definitely, they're definitely probably drones. Yeah. Or even satellites. People are just paying attention now.
These are the 2019 contacts where they were well offshore beyond the distance, and there's an endurance and an endurance factor that comes into play, and they so at least the reporting that Jeremy did and some things that I've heard about is that these were not something prosaic that couldn't be just or wouldn't be just taken out by the ship's defensive systems. Otherwise, everyone would just fly their drones over to a ship and say, let's go see what's going on the deck of the ship.
Yeah, and or the commanders of the ships didn't interpret whatever it was as any type of threat for whatever reason. Yeah.
But there are these systems that exist.
I mean, you just can't go down shooting. You just can't go out and start shooting stuff down just because you feel threatened by it. Just like I can't go down to 7-Eleven and punch some guy in the face just because he called me a bad name. It's the same type of thing, right? There has to be, and we learned that lesson hard on the USS Vincennes when we shot down Iranian Flight 655. We just can't shoot down just stuff just because we feel threatened. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it is. Bad shit happens when you do that, right? So
that's true.
Kind of track and observe and report, unless you're threatened by it for some specific reason, then you take defensive measures. And yes, to answer your question, there are systems in place to do that. You bet there is. And I won't go into how or why or
right
ranges or anything like that. Yeah.
Right.
And they probably got stuff now I'm not even aware of. I've been out of the service for a while now, so.
I was going to say, yeah, they've probably gotten better, but I was telling people, even over when I used to be at Bagram as an Air Force guy, we had a Navy system mounted that would take out like mortars and different projectiles that would come over the wall. And they had some radar systems. They had a camera suspended by a balloon as well. And when somebody would lob something over it, I would hear, and it would just boom, take it right out of the sky. In most cases, not 100% effective, but very effective. So I thought I heard one. What's that?
Thank God, right?
Thank God. Yeah. I heard one night I guess it was mounted close to where I worked that I wasn't aware of. And I heard it go off, and I thought it was the sound of a plane about to crash into the building, because the chain gun, it sounded like a propeller noise. So I tackled the person next to me, just thinking of, we got to get down, and really thinking that the roof was about to come in. But in fact, it was just that system taking out some sort of a projectile that was coming over the fence. So.
Yep.
Anyway,
still,
right.
Yeah, it still made your short hair stand on end, I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty funny. He's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, I thought we were. Anyway, all right. So, last round for Kevin Day, party people. Is there anything else that you guys want to ask Mr. Day?
Okay,
final shot.
Kevin Baker's got one.
Well, yeah, I kind of wanted to ask a question. We're entering into supposedly a new phase of a Cold War. I mean, another Cold War. I was wondering if you think things are about to get interesting, regardless to the UAP phenomenon, based on, that their attraction to nuclear related things. Do you think it's going to get interesting, sighting wise?
Let me kind of rephrase your question. Would they stop a nuclear war from happening?
No, there was an increase in sightings during the Cold War. They would be visiting the nuke sites, a lot of power plants. I'm wondering if that's going to happen again now that we're entering into another phase of a Cold War.
I don't know. I'm like you. I have more questions than answers.
Yeah.
I mean that this side is questions and this side is my answers so far. So,
right.
That's all of us, Kevin. All of us have a lot of questions, and
we're on the same
that's why
page,
we're
man.
here. So thank you very much. Everybody's going to want to say goodbye, and we definitely would want to do a round 2 with you. But before we go, can you please let us in on who you're working with now, what organization, what are your next steps that you guys have going on? Please tell us what you're involved in at the moment.
UAPX, because of some stuff that happened internally, excuse me, and some other opportunities that I've had come along, I've left UAPX Expeditions. Gary Voorhees is still running it. God bless him. Good man. Mm-hmm. But I'm not part of the organization now. And I'm kind of in a transition period because my wife of 31 years left me mostly over this, as it turns out. And I have the love of my life that just entered my life, Kimberly Beresford. I can't even tell you how much that woman has helped me. God bless her for what she's done for me,
There she is. Hi, Kim.
I have heard to thank for stop drinking, and God, that may have saved my life. Are you kidding me? Wow, or at least put years back on it, God willing, And what was your question again? I get carried away, man. I get so emotional. I'm sorry. I don't know if I answered.
I'm trying to think. That was whose question? Who had a question for him? That was I don't remember who asked it. Was that Kev or was that me?
I know Deb has a final question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I wanted to give a shout out to Kim, by the way, because she is amazing. She and I have communicated also. So maybe next time she should come with you to talk. Yay.
Please.
So
she's listening in right now. She's listening in. Yep.
I know we're wrapping up here shortly, but I just had a quick question. I wanted to ask a lot of people, there are some rumors about some shapes, and we know that as far as paperwork is concerned, some of those have been redacted, and I understand why. A lot of people don't, but I do get why they redacted them. But some of those rumors are that the shapes that we're seeing around our military ships are not just Tic Tacs. Have you heard that? Has anyone spoken to you about that?
About what? What are they saying?
The shapes are not just Tic Tac shapes.
Oh,
yeah, the shapes of the objects.
Shapes, okay.
I've heard, for instance, that there was a saucer.
I'm not surprised. I mean, people have seen triangles, squares inside circles. I mean, you name the shape and people have seen it. unless we're all on dope. I mean, these people that are seeing these things are highly credible too. And why would they want to lie about it? Most of them, of course not. So yeah,
Orbs.
I mean, the fact there's different shapes doesn't surprise me at all. There's different shapes of cars too, right? They don't all look like Vegas. Every car on the road's a Vega. No, they ain't. All kinds of cars out there. Well, UAP's the same. No big surprise.
And the Vega I wouldn't recommend because they really didn't perfect the 4-cylinder engine at that point.
No.
So and I had one.
It dates me.
Yeah.
I had one in high school. No, so yeah, the question that question actually was mine, and it was about what you're currently working with. Is there a name to your new organization? Is there a next step that you want people to know about?
No, it's just me, and I'm figuring it out right now. I'm in the transition period, letting kind of things settle down and adjust. I'm very picky with who I decide to spend my time with right now. Just because there's so many demands on it. And there's a phrase that I try to live by now is be careful what you wish for. You just might get it all. Yeah. So I'm trying to abide by that because I don't want to be like that rock star guy or that movie star guy because I realize how costly that is on a personal level. And I don't want to be that kind of person. I'm pretty simple, man. I just want to have a happy home life and help out in my town and my community and pay my bills and take care of the dogs and the house and that kind of stuff. And not travel too much. I'm pretty simple.
Sounds
so
like
yeah, my life is turned around, and that's my message. If you encounter these things and bad shit starts to happen, don't give up, because at the end of the day, if you hang in there with it, for some reason, and I'm not the only one saying this now. Astronauts are saying this. For some reason, it ends up improving you somehow as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Terry Virtue said just going to space and looking back at Earth gave him a different perspective and seeing the world without map lines on it and made him a better human. And I can hear that when I listen to his podcast. I'm sure this is a little bit of a pinch ourselves moment. A year and change ago when Nathan and I started this, before we even got the other cabbies, we had hoped that we would be able to talk to you and your mates and a lot of these folks. And thank goodness now people are engaging with us and allowing us to welcome them into a cab that isn't going to run you over at 80 miles an hour, I promise. So yeah, and personally, not only on behalf of Cab, but it's my honor to speak with you. And I hope that you'll come and join us again. And Kim is welcome to come with you. And
I'll talk to Kim about it. And I'm leaning in favor of that right now, because I actually very much enjoyed being here with you guys, and it sounds like you're my kind of people.
That's what's up, my man.
You're our
Kevin
kind of
Day.
people.
Yeah. All right. So for Nathan, for Debs, for Steph, and for Kevin, this is DJ saying to Kevin, peace out. One
you.
love.
Salute.
And as always, we'll see you down the road. We wonder what's up around the bend.
Thank you, and God bless. Out.
You too.